sit up or do we sit back? What do we do?
You can sit however you like.
Alright.
Doesn't matter how you sit.
Okay.
Are you comfortable?
I'm comfortable.
Okay, here we go. Hey, it's me, Christina, and I think we should go on a date. Well, I am joined here today by my lovely father, and today is actually Father's Day, so we are filming this on Father's Day, and since my Mother's Day special guest appearance by my illustrious mother was such a big hit, we thought, why not interview Dad for Father's Day? So I have once again very, very difficult. I didn't pick easy. Mom got the easy
supposed
here.
to be easy questions.
I told you only the hardest questions.
All right.
So I have my list of very difficult 20 questions with Dad. And once again, I did not write these. I just did a quick search on the interwebs of questions to ask your dad and picked a hodgepodge of what I thought were the best questions for you. So,
is it okay that we are having coffee with tea and tongue?
He's blowing my cover, yes. So in these cups are actually...
Well, I just say, I'm not a tea drinker.
He's not a tea drinker. So the stipulation as to Dad, do you want to do this, was as long as I can drink coffee, then sure.
Okay.
So coffee is today, so excuse us tea drinkers. Okay, you're
All
cheating
right.
already.
I'm not cheating.
Okay, first question. What did you enjoy most about being a dad? And then the least is the second. So like what was the best and what was the worst?
I could tell you the worst right off the bat.
What?
The worst.
Okay, then tell us the
I-
worst. That came to mind
Yeah.
scarily fast.
No, but I hated the diapers and all that stuff, so that was the worst.
You hated the
I
diapers?
hated the diapers and the sick parts and all that other stuff, so, you know.
Not your cup of tea.
No, the expelling of bodily fluids I wasn't a big fan of, so that was the worst. The best was, I don't know, maybe coming home from work when you were a baby and seeing you and playing with you when you were a baby. That was a lot of fun.
Very good. So far, so good.
So far, so good.
Question 2.
Okay.
Why did you marry Mom?
Well, I know the answer you're supposed to say.
No, tell me the truth. Why did you marry Mom?
Well, we knew each other for a very, very long time, and we were really, really close friends, and we were really kind of like best friends all through high school and junior high school, and we just were always together, and obviously I loved her, so that's why I married her.
She was always around, and
Yeah.
so then I kind of liked her, so then we got married.
She followed me everywhere, and what was I gonna do? I mean, I figured I would help her out.
Help her out a little bit, yeah. You know she's gonna watch this. She's not gonna be happy. Okay, if you could be any superhero, who would you be?
Superman.
And why? Superman.
He's the best. That's
Superman is not the best.
Superman's the best. That's why he's called Superman. He is the Superman.
I don't think Superman's
He's
the
very,
best.
a lot of integrity, fights for the American way, justice, the whole thing.
Superman.
There's not even a question. The other superheroes are subpar.
No way.
Superman.
Batman is not subpar.
Batman.
I love Batman.
Batman just, without his toys, he's nothing.
And
Superman.
Okay, Superman.
It's Superman.
Okay. Is there anything you wish you would have asked your parents? My grandparents, in case you didn't know.
No.
Anything at all that you
No, I
you
pretty much
wish
asked them everything. I don't know.
you gave them a run for their money?
I asked them everything that I wanted to know, and they gave me the answers. And sometimes they offered the answers of things I didn't want to know. So, no, there's nothing I can honestly say that I wanted to ask them that I did not ask them.
Okay.
So that was an easy one. That was
Wow, I thought there was going to be like
no,
one of the
that
harder
was
questions.
no, I'm good.
Okay. What happy memory will you cherish forever? Pick one.
That's impossible. There's too many. You can't just pick one.
The sheet says, what happy memory?
Who wrote these questions?
I told you I didn't write them. What happened? Well, just think of one, and we'll say that this isn't exclusively the only happy memory that memory that you will cherish forever. But what is one happy memory that you will cherish forever?
May 18th, 1988.
That's my birthday.
There you go.
I would imagine that was like a long day though.
Well, the 17th was long.
17th, leading up to the 18th.
Leading
Because
up
I was
to the-
born at like, what, 4 in the morning or something?
4:30, 4:20, something
I
like
think it
that.
was 4:22, but you know, who's counting bad?
Yeah, that was a very long day. I was in the little tiny waiting room and nothing was happening, and then I'd go down a hall.
No, you were bored. He was bored. My poor mother's in labor. And you're saying it was a long day because you were in a
Yeah.
little room?
And then she was kind of like mean.
She was mean?
She wasn't too nice to me that day.
She wasn't too nice.
Yeah, and here I was doing everything I was supposed to.
Staying out in the
Staying
room.
out of everybody's way.
Just out of the way.
Just waiting.
Okay. Okay.
See, these are easy questions. This isn't too bad.
We're only on number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
But are you supposed to argue with the answer?
No, I'm not arguing.
Superman is the best hit superhero.
Fine, Superman. Okay. What was your second choice for my name? Like if you didn't name me
Angela.
Christina. Angela? Why Angela?
I don't know. I like the name Angela. Actually, your name was not. Well, Mom told me. We told you this.
I'm.
Your name was going to be Rosa Maria, but then toward the end, like 3 days before.
3 days before you had me, you
Yeah.
made a game change? I knew Rosa Maria was on me because that was going to be like my grandmother and then my great grandmother's names kind of
It's gonna be
combined, Rosa Maria.
But then I knew everybody was going to call you Rosemary or Rosemary, and I
And you
said
didn't want that.
I didn't want that, so I went up to Mom and said I don't want to name the baby. If it's
3
a girl.
days.
Because if it was a boy, we already knew the name.
What would I have been if I was a boy?
It wouldn't have been you.
No, I know, but what would you have named your son if I was your son?
I'll give you one guess.
Probably LDC the third.
There you go.
Right? I would have been Louis David Custodi
Exactly.
the third because you are a junior,
Yes.
and then Papa was.
Right.
The
So
first,
that
yeah.
that was
That was
not
set in
even
stone.
in contention. But it was going to be Rosa Maria, and then like a few days before, I says, if we name her Rosa Maria, everybody's going to call her Rosemary or
Rosemary.
Rosemary. And I says, and that's not what we want people to call her.
Yeah.
So then she said, well, what else do you want? I said, what about Angela? She said, no.
No.
That was a
No.
I said, and
Angela,
then
no.
I said, and this is true, whether she admits it or not, I said, I always loved the name Christina. Why don't we say Christina? And she said, absolutely. As soon
And
as
then,
I said it.
and then it was done.
That was it. And it says Christina Maria. I said, not Christina Marie, right? Christina Maria.
Right, it's certainly not Christine, which I
Well,
do get. Sometimes I get Christine Marie.
Could you
so
imagine
I'm
if
still,
it was Rosa Maria?
It would have been a lot
It
more
would have
difficult.
been worse. I mean, you
would
can't
have
get people to say Christina. They always say Christine.
been- Christine Marie, and I'm like that. I don't know who
Not
that
even
is.
close.
It's an A, not an E. Anyways, so that was enlightening.
Yeah.
Okay, what were you like in elementary school?
Adorable.
Is
Absolutely adorable.
there anybody that can substantiate
Yeah.
these claims that you're making?
Yeah.
You were adorable.
Absolutely adorable.
You weren't a handful. You didn't give anybody trouble. You were just sweet.
No,
and you
I
just went to school.
no, I was.
Okay, so dish the goods.
I was very fresh.
You were fresh.
The nuns called the house quite often, telling my mother and father that I was fresh.
The nuns.
Yep,
I
that's true.
love it.
That is definitely true. But I was good. I just had a lot of questions and asked questions, and sometimes I didn't like the questions I was asking.
I can understand that.
But I still say I was adorable,
Adorable.
much like today.
Much like today. So adorable. And then what were you like as a teenager? That's part of this question. It's not a separate question.
Not so adorable.
Not so adorable.
Yeah, no, I was a good kid. I didn't get in trouble. Hardly.
Hardly. I didn't get in trouble.
Nah, once
Hardly.
I did, but it wasn't for anything major. But I was not like your uncle. He was always in trouble.
He was the handful.
Yeah, I was good. I was good. Yeah, I just worked all the time, and basically that was it. Probably by today's standard, I was a very, very boring teenager.
Yeah, you just kind of went to work, went to school, went home.
Just kind of did what I had to do and survived to fight another day.
Okay.
What?
Growing up,
Mhm.
who inspired you the most?
Personally, professionally, in business.
It doesn't specify, so I think
So
you could
I'm
take
gonna ask.
liberty.
No, why don't you ask me then? Seeing as how these are
Let's-
your questions.
Okay. Well, let's do one of each. So, who inspired you the most personally?
Personally, probably my dad, because he was a very, very hard worker and he was an honest guy, very, very ethical, and he just did everything he could to provide for his family. So he was definitely an inspiration. Professionally. Well, musically, the great trumpet players of the day, obviously. So that would be Doc Severinsen, Eric Ferguson, and Al Hurt. I was tremendously inspired by those guys.
Personally, professionally, and...
That's good.
Okay. Who inspired your fashion the most? No, that's not a
I was gonna say, I hope that's not a real question.
Mickey Mouse. Okay, this is a hard question. Super hard. What is your biggest regret?
My biggest regret?
Mm-hmm. Don't say like putting on the wrong pair of shoes. Like.
No, I don't know. I'm gonna invoke the fifth.
You can't
and
invoke
refuse
the
to answer
fifth.
the question on
Oh
the
my God,
grounds
it's me.
that may
I'm the biggest
criminal.
regret.
No.
I'm the biggest. That's
no,
what it is.
no.
That's gotta be what it is.
No.
You have to answer.
Well, it's a double-edged sword.
Okay.
My biggest regret is that I didn't have the opportunity to do what I wanted to do with my life. But having said that, if I did do what I wanted to do, then we wouldn't be here having this conversation.
You
Because
didn't know
everything
that.
wouldn't. I know, Christina.
But what did you want to do?
I wanted to do what you did, and I
Yeah.
never had the opportunity to do it. But if I did have the opportunity to do it, we would not be here today.
You don't think you still would have married Mom?
Christina, everything would have been different.
Well, yeah, I know that you say this, but I still.
I know.
It's a touchy subject. I don't know. I feel like I would still be your daughter.
And I know we've gone over this many times.
Okay, all right.
But that would be it. But you know what? I'm cool. I'm good.
You're good with how
I'm
things
good
turned
how
out in the
things-
big scheme of
In
things.
the big scheme of things,
It all worked out.
well.
Okay. What was the first album that you bought? The first one that you were like so excited to go buy with your money?
It was called Brass Roots, and it was a Doc Severinsen album.
Doc Severinsen.
That was the
album.
very first one that I ever bought.
Did
Then
you
after
play
that,
it like forever and ever
yes,
and
and I
ever?
still have it downstairs.
Do you really?
I still have it.
Aw.
It's a fantastic album.
Grassroots Doc. Got it.
Yeah, Brass Roots.
And then after that,
Probably the next one that I was extreme, because I remember buying that, and it was back then. Well, first of all, there were record stores back then,
right.
which
We
you
saw
don't
the
see
end
now.
of.
Yeah.
My generation saw the end of not only record stores, but then CD stores like Media Play and places like
Yeah.
that. So, yeah, we saw.
So
the
they
end of
had
that.
record stores all over, but the department stores also had records in them. And I think that we were in Sears, and I was bugging my dad that I wanted to get an album, so we went over, and at the time, they had like all these different categories, and there was an instrumentalist section.
Mm-hmm.
And Doc was very popular at the time, so I went there and I pulled it out and I said, I want to buy this. And he said, why do you want to buy that? I said, because I want to hear what's on. He says, you don't know anything on it. So he turned it over and said, all right, you want to buy it? I think it was like $7 or $8, which was a lot of
that's
money.
a lot. That's a lot
Right?
back then. $7 or $8. That's
So we're going back.
for a song, an album that you didn't know any of the songs off of either. So
Yeah, in retrospect, there was probably one that I knew the title to.
yeah.
And I probably played because I was playing at that time. It was the theme from Love Story. So I said, yeah, look, this is on it. So, long story short, very excited, got home and played it and absolutely loved it and just about wore it out. In fact, I went and I got the CD
Yeah.
of the
When the
same.
CD came
as soon
out,
as
yeah.
the CDs came out. And I still listen to it today occasionally, obviously. And was fantastic. After that, then I started going into record stores because I was a little bit older. And then I remember picking up a Maynard Ferguson album called MF4 and 2. And
Okay.
it was a D'Amico Music. Back then, Jerry had a store on Pine Avenue.
Uh-huh.
And he had records along with everything else. You know,
Oh.
music instruction and
It's the supplies. and
supplies
stuff.
and
Yeah,
amplifiers and things like that. So I went in there and I found it and I was excited and I brought it home and my favorite track on that album was Hey Jude.
Hate.
And it's absolutely phenomenal. To this day, it's a classic.
One of your favorites.
Those are the two that I most remember when I was very young.
How old were you? How old do you think you were?
I gotta think 13 maybe, so
Yeah.
we're talking maybe 1973,
73. Yeah.
74,
12, 13
somewhere
years
around
old.
there.
Yeah.
Somewhere around there, yeah. The Doc album probably came in when I was maybe 12 or 13.
Okay.
And the other one maybe 14. I don't know. I can't remember. And then it
I
was
think you've
just-
remembered an awful lot
just a
about.
fun meeting. Oh yeah.
It's an awful. You've recalled an awful lot.
I still see the Elton Brothers.
Okay. What was the best trip of your life?
Well, that's kind of an interesting question.
That's a tough question because you love to travel and you've gone a lot of places.
Mhm.
That's why I picked this question for you. What is like the best trip of your life?
All right, I will say, difficult situations, warts and all, is when we went to Italy.
Italy, yeah.
I loved Italy. I would love to go back again someday. We'll bring you this time.
Yeah, I was not invited.
Yeah.
I mean, how rude, right? The best trip I went on was the one that you were invited on.
Pretty much.
Yeah, pretty much. Not nice. I had a feeling it was going to be that. That's
Yeah.
pretty incredible to be able to go
Italy
there.
was incredible. And, we tied that in with a little bit of time in Paris and then Barcelona.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
I just loved Italy.
Okay.
We done?
No, we're not done. We're like not even halfway done. This is 20 questions with Dad.
So, getting
Okay.
grueling here.
It's not getting grueling. Okay. Did I already ask this? I don't think so. Okay. Looking back at your life thus far,
Mhm.
what are you most proud of?
You.
Me?
You.
Out of everything?
Yep, no questions here.
Wow, that's a lot of pressure.
Well, you don't disappoint.
Okay,
That was easy.
I thought all the questions that I think are going to be like terribly challenging, you're like, not a problem.
Well, I know the answer.
Okay, I guess.
That's how, like, when I take a test. If I know the answer, boom, that's the answer. Move on to the next question.
Okay.
Carry on.
Carry on. What family tradition do you cherish the most?
Sunday dinners.
Sunday dinners. I didn't know if you were going to pick that at Christmas Eve.
Well,
I didn't know.
Well, the reason is because Christmas Eve is like once.
Okay.
Sunday dinners are every Sunday. That, I just love that the best.
Sunday dinners.
Mhm.
For those that are not Italian, would you like to explain Sunday dinners just a little bit? And what makes them so special and why you pick that as your most cherished family tradition over things like Christmas morning or Christmas Eve
Yeah.
or...
Well, because a lot of Italians have the tradition where the entire family gets together on Sunday, and the matriarch would spend hours preparing the meal. It's usually a sauce-based meal, and you'll have some sort of pasta, macaroni, spaghetti, lasagna, ravioli, something like that. And then you have the meatballs that go along with it, and then you have the
Cutlets.
sausage and the cutlets and the brajol. And when you're done doing all of that, then you have a salad, and then you have like homemade desserts and stuff. And the thing that's nice about it is you eat earlier in the day, so then when 6 o'clock rolls around, everybody's a little hungry, you do it all over again.
You go back for
And
the second.
everybody's together, and that's what it's all about.
Okay. Very nice job. I think you're going to like this next question. If you could go anywhere, in time or space,
Oh, wow.
where would you go?
Now, this is a hard question.
Well, I know because you can go back in time, you can go into outer space. There's a lot of things that would appeal to you.
Yeah.
But if you could get in that time machine,
Why
would
can
you
I
go?
only go to one place?
would you want to pick two?
I can give you like a whole slew of things I'd like to
All right,
do.
well, let's narrow it down to like the top two since you
Oh, so
can't
it's either back
follow
or
the
forward?
rules. No, it's anywhere.
Anywhere.
Anywhere you want to go. Like if you want to go
Time
back.
machine won't take me out into outer space.
Okay, so then it's not a time machine. You have the ability to go anywhere.
Okay.
We're not going to say that you're specifically in a
All right.
time machine.
Okay.
Uh,
Well, you have to understand the parameters of
all right,
the question.
here's the parameters. You can go anywhere you want,
Anywhere I want.
whenever, without any limitations.
Jeez. Well, I'd like to go in the future, let's say 100 years, and see what's
What's going on?
going on.
I was like,
How did
hey
everything
guys,
turn out?
What's going on?
Do we still have the United States of America, or is it something completely different? That would be
Are
interesting.
there people here?
Yeah. I'd like to go back in time and kind of like be a bystander throughout Lincoln's administration. And see
A
what was
bystander.
going on.
Make sure you don't get involved in either side. though,
Well,
'cause that
yeah.
could
Well,
be-
you know how that whole thing ended up. So
Fly on the
you
wall.
gotta be careful. There's just so many things that I would have liked to see. And naturally, I'd like to go and explore and see if there's anything out there.
outer space. Dad's going into space.
Yep. I wanted to be an astronaut when I was a little kid.
You wanted that was like your
Oh,
choice.
yeah, that's well. I think we all did because that was right about the time that Apollo was happening. So you know, you had all of those moon shots and everything leading up to that. So
Yeah, so you were like, I'm gonna get in that orb and they're gonna
Mhm.
sling me into the stars.
and you're a little kid, you don't really look at it that way. It's just like, that's cool. Let's go.
Yeah. Okay. Fair. Okay. If you could go back to one day of your childhood, when would it be?
Now that's a tough one. I don't know. Well, I can't think of anything in particular, but I do know, in general, I like the 4th of July.
So you'd pick like a 4th of July
Fourth
family
of July,
party.
because everybody would come over to our house, and my cousins would come over.
Mhm.
Johnny, Anthony, and Maria would be there, and we'd be outside in the backyard where we had the pool and the deck, and my dad would be cooking.
Playing.
Yeah, the whole time.
So
And-
any 4th of July party
Yeah,
from the
usually-
ages.
I remember 4th of July as being a very, very great day growing up.
That's a pretty good
Yeah.
little kid pick.
Mhm.
I can see. Okay. What is your favorite food? And then what food would you never eat again?
You know my favorite food. I'm going to ask you, what is my favorite food?
I feel like you have multiple favorite
I
foods.
do, but what is my favorite food? I will eat it and it'll be terrible, and I'll tell you it's terrible, and I'll still eat it.
I feel like there's a couple things that could fall into that.
Yeah? What's the first one that comes to your mind?
Well, the first one that comes to mind is like Italian dinner, like Sunday sauce, like.
Well, yeah,
dinner.
that's a favorite food, but I mean pizza. I will
You-
eat rotten pizza
But
and
I
tell
mean
you this is the
pizza.
worst pizza I've ever eaten, and I'll still eat it because I love pizza.
Maybe
But,
not pizza.
jeez, oh man, I mean,
Pizza, I would have thought you were gonna say barbecue or like macaroni.
Well,
I never
yeah.
would have thought
Well,
pizza was good. You were so adamant about I love pizza. I never thought you were gonna
well, you know,
side so
I
strongly
always
with
eat
pizza. Yeah, well, who doesn't eat pizza?
Well, that's my whole point. But
Alright,
my birthday,
you love
but my
pizza.
traditional birthday meal, right?
It's delicious Cajun. I mean, it's delicious.
Well, there's two of them because the Cajun one came in.
You have two
Yes.
traditional birthday meals.
It's either cavatelli
Right.
and cutlets with maybe meatballs on the
Mhm.
side, right?
Mhm.
And that whole thing going,
Mhm.
right? Which I love. Or it's the pan-fried catfish with
Cream sauce.
the
The
crawfish and the cream sauce and the
So good.
habaneros in there. So,
Right.
you know, and then we trade on and off every other year or so.
I don't remember trading. I remember the catfish. The catfish has been holding
For a
court.
long, well, that's because I can only have it once a year.
Well, because if you eat it more than once a year, you're probably gonna die.
So if I
mean-
can only have it once a year, I want to make sure I have it because I could usually get the other one in a couple of times.
You can sneak the cavatelli and you can say, hey,
I
you
can
can
get that
wrangle
in.
that in.
I can get that in on a Sunday.
Right.
There's no way Mom's gonna make that.
You're not getting that catfish.
Pan-fried
It's all
catfish.
love though, because nobody should be eating that more than maybe once a year.
It's so good.
It is good. Okay, and what food do you absolutely detest that you can't stand? I feel like I know this one better than you.
Yeah.
Yeah, this one you could ask me, and I bet you I'd
All
get
right,
it.
which one do you think it is?
Well, it's either cabbage or broccoli.
No.
You hate both of those.
But I will eat both raw.
Raw. It's cooked. That's
Cooked.
true.
And cauliflower, please.
So
My
let's go with the
God.
broccoli family.
Yeah, all of
Cauliflower
that
is
stuff.
delicious.
Oh, I can't get by the smell. I don't know how you eat
You're
it.
holding your head. I can't get by the smell.
I mean, I came home the other night, Ma cooked some because I wasn't home. And it's like, oh my God, open the windows.
It's so
I don't know how you
good
eat
though.
it. Ugh.
Okay.
Okay, next.
Oh wow, you're just moving this along here.
Oh, hey.
All
Got a
right.
job to do, I'm doing
All right, all right. This is a 3-part question.
Okay.
Okay. It is, what is your favorite song, movie, and book? So do song first, like your favorite song.
Favorite song to play, favorite song to listen
It just says your favorite song. We can go with to listen to.
to. I don't know if I did an interview once with Paul Preston,
Mm-hmm.
and you know him very well.
I love
And I asked him, what is your favorite song to play?
Mm-hmm.
And he thought for a second, geez, we do so many songs and this, that, and the other thing. And he actually came up with a tune. Skylark.
Oh, I love Skylark. But that's Paul's favorite
That's
song.
Paul's.
That's not your favorite song. You
My
can't just throw
favorite
Paul. Everyone loves Skylark.
Yeah.
It could be like a favorite song on the radio. It could be.
Well, I have so many songs that I absolutely love. I really do. This is hard. This is a hard one.
And this is only part one.
This is only part one. Well,
But I feel like the song part
everything
is the
came to a
hardest one.
screeching halt.
Well, it's a good thing
We
you
were
moved
doing-
us along so
we were doing so
efficiently
well,
for the
and now
first
all of a
half.
sudden everything.
All right, start listing songs, and then we'll narrow it down.
Well, in the rock genre, I like a lot of Beatles and Lennon and all that kind of stuff, and McCartney and Queen and those type of things. So I can give you songs from them for like.
If that's what you want to be remembered as your favorite
oh,
song.
my favorite song.
We can go to movie and book, and we can come back if you want. But I'm getting an answer.
I don't know. This is hard. You can't ask. What if I said to you, "What's your favorite song?"
I don't know.
You
I don't know
couldn't
my
do
favorite
it.
song.
It's like saying name your favorite child. But
It's
not
easy
really
for you
because
to do
it's
because you
one.
only have one, so that's
Right.
a very easy question. I would
Oh.
hope that wouldn't be as difficult for you.
Oh, I don't know. Favorite song? There's so many because so many different genres and everything. The one that's coming to mind is My Love, Paul McCartney.
I
How's that?
love it. It's a good song. There's nothing
1973.
wrong with that.
It's a-
1973.
It's a beautiful song.
Paul McCartney, 1973. Off the album entitled blah, 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 blah. You're gonna start reading the liner
It's
notes.
a great song.
It is a great
That's only
song.
one. There's so many others, but that's the one that came to mind.
Okay, well then that's fine. Then go with
Okay.
that. All right. What about your favorite movie?
I like It's a Wonderful Life.
I love it.
I love that movie. So
Classic choice.
we watch it all the time. But that doesn't. I mean, there are other movies that we watch. You and I watched all the Planet of the Apes movies,
I am very
and we loved
aware.
all those movies.
Oh, love
And
them
we still
so
watch
much.
them every time
Every time I'm here.
that we watch them
Planet
all
of
the
the
time.
Apes, Alien,
All the and then all the
Predator.
Alien movie, Predator. They're all classics.
great movies.
They're fantastic. I mean, The Abyss.
Who
I
doesn't
watch
love
that
The
every
Abyss?
single time it's on.
But I think It's a Wonderful Life trumps those.
Yeah, it's
It's
a
a different caliber,
different style movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do love that movie.
Time Machine.
I just watched
I know.
the remake of the Time Machine the other day. It was on. I can't turn it off, especially when the Morlocks come. I mean,
Everyone loves those Morlocks.
Yeah.
And then favorite book.
favorite book. Okay. Well, one that I read recently that I refer to, and it came up last night in conversation, is The Outliers by Malcolm Gladwell.
Outliers. It's a great book.
It's a great book, and it's a very, very interesting book. So
Outliers, good book.
currently that's the one that I reference most often.
I think you answered our next question already. Our next question says, "What did you want to be when you grew up?"
Well, when I was a little kid, I wanted to be an astronaut,
Mm-hmm.
hands down.
You love
Then I got a
that.
little bit older, and everybody started talking everybody out of being an astronaut for a number of different
They're
reasons.
like, all of our kids want to be astronauts. We have to sit them down.
That's it. It's like, you can't be an astronaut. No. But then I just wanted to be a trumpet player. That's what I
Trumpet
wanted to
player.
do.
Well, that's good. I mean, you are a trumpet player.
I am, so to that extent.
You're not an astronaut.
Not an astronaut. I got closer on the trumpet playing aspect of it, so.
That's good. That's very good. Okay. What mistakes taught you the most about life?
Well, that's a pretty deep question.
I told you these were not easy.
I made a mistake once of being somewhere I wasn't supposed to be, and I paid for it dearly.
Really?
So I'm not going to be able to elaborate, but
You were somewhere you
I
shouldn't
was
have been.
with somebody I shouldn't have been with.
Oh no!
And I paid for it dearly in many, many ways. And let's just say that by the grace of God, you are here today.
Oh my goodness!
Yeah.
Drama.
A little bit. But we can't go into too much more than that.
Right.
And
That's
that,
juicy though. That's a juicy detail.
well, that just taught me to rethink your decisions and make sure that you're making good decisions, which is a theme that I think that you will recognize.
Yes, that is a very good theme. And be honest about where you are.
Yeah.
See, now that point that was driven so much into my head as a child makes so much sense.
Well, I didn't say that I wasn't where I was.
Right.
I just shouldn't have been there. In retrospect, I should have had enough common sense to say, I really shouldn't be here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Dun, dun, dun.
But that was probably the one.
That's a big one.
Yeah.
Okay. See? Wasn't
Mhm.
that hard? You had one. Okay. Whew, you made it. All right, we are down to the final two.
Okay.
Okay. In what ways are we alike, and in what ways are we different?
Ooh. Well, I think that there were some glaring examples of how we're alike,
Like what?
like our passion for music
Mm-hmm.
and our passion for performing and being dedicated to creating good music and stuff like that, right? All that kind of stuff, and all the little different skill sets that go with that.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
In which you are not like your mother.
Not in the least.
Okay.
Love her. Can't carry a tune in a bucket. I love her dearly.
Yeah.
But she admits it though.
She does.
In her interview, she legit laid
She
it
did
out
say
there.
it.
She was
She
like, no.
Except the day she sounded like Adele.
That I still can't. I sound like Adele today. Oh, do you, Mom? Okay.
And she loves to sing.
I know,
too.
she
That's-
does. Okay, so we are like in our passion and our
Yes.
creation of art and music and what else?
Our appreciation for the arts in general.
Yes.
Again, not like your mother. She'll look at a picture and say, okay, it's nice, let's go.
Mhm.
And you and I will tend to look at it and look at the brush strokes and look at the depth and whether or not the artist was successful and so on and so forth. I think that you and I have very, very similar tastes in some of the movies that we watch. Planet of the Apes.
Planet of the Apes, Alien,
Predator.
The Predators. I
all
wasn't
those.
into, I would hang out with my friends
I know,
on the
but
weekends
still,
and
I
they'd
mean,
be
we
like,
didn't
what
have
movie
that.
do you want to watch? Oh, let's watch Predator. Yeah,
Yeah.
not really the coolest choice for like
Yes.
a teenager. But
Yeah. So in those ways, we're very much alike. So how are we different? We're different. That you're much more graceful than I am.
I'm graceful.
Compared to me, yeah.
I'm graceful. No one has ever, I don't think, in my 29 years of life said that I am
No, you
graceful.
sashay around and kind of like glide back and forth, and
I glide.
I kind of clomp here and there, and
I
that
glide.
kind of stuff. You're a much better dancer than I am.
Well,
You can dance. You don't. You tell people you can't dance, but you and I both know you can dance. So that's how we're different that way. How else are we different?
what about like our personalities?
Personality?
Like, what do I do that reminds you of you? What do I do?
Your sarcasm is pretty much like me, but mine could be sarcastic too. So there was no way you weren't going to get that little personality
I
trait.
try to tone it down though.
You do.
You think?
Not very well at times. You sometimes.
Not very well. You're not succeeding at that.
Well, how we're different is I think that you got a little bit of a sharp tongue every once in a while.
I do.
And
I am much sharper than you are.
And we do have those little discussions about, really, you said that? Really? Is that what you?
I do have a quick and a sharp tongue. It's very fast.
Yeah. And
You process before you speak, I think, always.
Yeah, my filter is about this thick, and your filter is almost wafer thin.
Do you want me to get the saran wrap?
That's
Hold it.
about it. If there is a filter there, it's like, really?
Yeah, but you know that I'm honest.
Yes. You are honest.
There's no premeditation to
I'll-
anything that comes
so
out of my
so
mouth.
that's
ever.
another thing that we're like with
Yes.
honesty, right?
You're way more organized than I am. You're way neater.
Yeah. That I didn't want to say because I didn't want to hurt your feelings.
No, you're very neat.
I mean, everything has a place, and there's a place for it.
But I get a little bit of that because I'll let things get to a certain amount of chaos and then I freak out
Well,
and then it all has to go back.
I'll tell you where your work area, where you're composing and your little desk next to you, that's always very, very
It's always neat. The
That's
places that I
perfect.
spend the most of my time are very orderly.
Yeah.
The places,
Your little studio and stuff like that.
it's always very neat and clean.
One thing we are not alike in, and I wish you would come over to my side of the table, is the way you wrap your chords.
I'm getting better.
Yes, but it's still here. Here's a chord, and it's spaghetti. It's like, what? It's
I'm
like,
getting better.
you are getting better.
But organization, that's
Organization.
it. That's 100%.
Yeah. What else?
You're down to the last question.
Okay.
Unless you're still thinking of ways that we're alike and ways that we're different.
You know what? I can find a lot of ways we're alike. I don't find too many that we're different. You probably know that. I think that I'm a better driver than you.
You think you're a better driver
Oh,
than me?
I'm a good driver. I'm an actually great
No,
driver.
there's two
What?
types of dad driving.
Yeah.
Okay. There's dad driving, going 102 on the thruway, driving the crazy man because he's got to get somewhere.
Well,
and
if
he's
you
gonna
have
be
to get
late,
somewhere,
and
you
he's
gotta
like,
go somewhere.
We're either going at max speed, like
Yeah.
a crazy man, or there's Sunday morning dad driving,
Yeah.
where it's like we're on the thruway and we're going 45 in the left lane, and
No,
he's like,
no,
people
no.
are going around us on the right. He's like, these people are always in a rush. Don't they know it's a ride, not a race? And there's no in between. And
No.
there's also, you know, the lane. You like to feel the side. You're always in the lane, but
Yeah.
sometimes, but you're not on this side of the lane. Right? I am a better driver.
No.
I am a better driver.
No, you drive too fast and you do not apply the brake quick enough.
That's not true. How many
Very, very
accidents
true.
have you been in your life?
What kind of accident? Like
Any
an actual,
accident, like a driving accident,
like hitting somebody?
like an accident.
Okay, not like hitting something that was stationary, right? That you didn't see because snow was covering something or something like that, right?
I'm asking how many accidents you've been
I-
in. That's what I'm
I
asking.
think I was in one accident.
I
One.
don't believe it.
One accident.
I don't
And a
believe
guy
it.
pulled in front of me as I was accelerating onto an on-ramp.
I don't buy it.
Yeah, one.
You know how many I've been in?
How many?
0.
Well,
I've been in 0 accidents. Knock on wood, because I'm not planning on getting in one.
yeah,
But-
and I'm happy for that. and
Okay,
Sometimes I
but
shake
you
my
want to
head.
qualify the type of accident. So how many stationary things have you plowed over?
Not plowed over, just backed into some things because you can't see them.
All right, I'm a better driver.
No.
We're moving on.
Yes.
Our very last question.
Yes.
Did you always want a daughter or did you want a son?
Honest?
Honest.
Okay, I'm being very honest here. I wanted a healthy.
You didn't care, you never cared.
And if you don't believe me, you can ask your mom. Because
You didn't secretly want like a little boy that you could
No.
put bow ties on and make
No.
him carry a little trumpet?
No.
No, you just didn't care.
I said from the very beginning, as long as the baby's healthy, I don't care.
Doesn't matter.
Does not matter.
I mean, are you happy that I was a girl though?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Would you have rather that I was a boy?
No. No.
You don't think boys would have been easier than having a girl? I'm sure having a girl is tough as a dad. Like,
Well, yeah.
girls are tough.
Yeah, it comes with a certain certain amount of anxiety. I would say that.
Having a girl that you
Yeah.
probably wouldn't have with a boy.
Yeah, I would think. I would
Yeah.
think. But no, and I'm being 100% honest. I never, ever, ever once wished.
Never wanted to trade me in for another model?
Well, when you made me a little bit mad, I would have traded you in for a puppy. Maybe.
Puppy would have
No.
made you mad too.
Yeah.
Puppy would have made you mad too.
No.
All right, well, we are all the way done with our 20 questions with Dad. I hope you enjoyed our time. Thank you for talking to
welcome.
me and my tea and talkers.
Mhm.
Mwah. And happy Father's Day,
Thank
everybody. We hope you enjoyed your Father's Day with your dad. And we will see everybody, of course, next Tuesday. You want to whistle with me? Here you go. Nice
There you go.
job.